Why, yes, we're finally going to answer the question why on earth I would have taken a grinder to a perfectly good tool chest. I'm Bob, KD4, BMG, HOA Ham. I'm thrilled to be back to the Ham Shack build-out series here on the channel. We're going to take a 360-degree spin around the shack right now and then hone in on specific areas within the shack and how I maximized every cubic inch of space here. Space is at a premium in almost every ham radio shack. Mine is 6 feet wide, 8.5 feet deep, and I'm going to show you how I used every possible cubic inch of space and maybe give you some ideas on what you can do in your ham shack. So first up, let's talk about this back wall. You're not going to be able to see into this cabinet. This is on the right-hand side as you walk into the shack. But this cabinet, roll in a photo or a short video from going from bottom on up, is about a 40-inch space, 10, 11, and 12, in which I have emergency go kits as well as smaller kits for POTA, and then a plethora of things that I need to share with you on future review videos. So on the right side of the shack and the left side of the shack, the very top row is the same thing. It's a grouping of rather large bins that are both ham radio related, emergency preparedness related, as well as some personal items. I don't get to these very often. I make use of this Rubbermaid wire shelving for a particular reason, and I have that on both sides of the shack. Everything here in these particular bins, these clear bins, these are for future video reviews. I have unbelievable amount of gear to do reviews on. I am probably 8 months behind on my reviews at this point in time. My channel is a combination of sharing with you things that are important to me in my ham way of life, as well as sharing reviews of product that's currently on the market. Let's talk about the rest of this wall. And I mentioned that I use this type of shelving because it allows me to put hooks on the wall and then hang things that are just kind of weird. Actually, the hooks are on the shelving itself and you can locate them at various places. And here I have 2 hooks holding up the solid radiator for the HOA F-Loop 2.0 or 3.0. And then I have another type of hook here that actually grabs a hold of the individual bar. So you put it up on an angle and hold it down. It's just very adaptive to a number of different situations. So I use these types of hooks with this type of shelving because it's very versatile. And here you can see I have some of the S hooks. It's holding one of my tripods. Here I have one of the other type of hooks that's holding some elastic lanyard that's holding up another one of my tripods. And so here we are on the left-hand side as you enter the shack. We're not at all going to talk about this black cabinet, although it is also for emergency preparedness. But I do want to talk about these shelves. I use a lot of magnetic attachments. These are magnetic shelves and they're incredibly strong. I've had 3 HTs up here for a period of time, actually an SDS 100 scanner and 2, well, call them HTs if you want. Splatter boxes is what those are. And then this just connects right on to this metal cabinet with magnets. And I do this so that I can configure things very differently. As things change in the shack, I have the ability to change the way I've set things up, and I find that versatility incredibly helpful. I'll leave links in the description below to all the things that I talk about here as far as making life a little bit easier in the shack to adapt and to store things. And if that's helpful to you, then go ahead and check it out. So here is one of the favorite features in the shack. But before we get to that, yep, you've already seen the plastic bins here at the top. It's the same as on the right-hand side. And then all of these bins over here. This is not review material. These are things that I need for operating backyard portable, soda, POTA. I don't do soda. There is no Summit in the state of Florida that I'm aware of. But these are all items, hardware, paracord, antenna wire, brackets. Let's just grab one and let's take a look at it and see if I can even show you what's in here. And I keep these all labeled. Does that surprise you? There's a label on every one of these so that I know precisely what is in here. I've got 4 bins up here and each one is just loaded with all kinds of gear. And here's just a kind of a snapshot of it. I'm not going to open every one of these up, but every one is packed completely full. It's not just because I'm a YouTuber, it's because this ham way of life to me is something that is far more than a hobby. It's something that I've fallen in love with, and I'm just constantly enamored by new ways to operate, new antennas to create, new things to do here at the Homeowners Association. You see, I'm not afraid to try crazy and creative things to get on the air. So all 4 of these blue bins are filled with things that help me do that. And then I have a space right here, which is normally the space where, dude, you gotta review this because the manufacturer's been waiting forever. So I put it here so I'm constantly having to look at that as I walk into the shack. So this is the second favorite wall in the shack. Of course, the first favorite wall is the front wall where my monitors and my 7300 and my FX4CR, my antenna switches, all the gear is there. When you're watching me on videos, you see that behind me? That's a photograph, and I'm on a green screen. All of that gear is actually in front of me, and I'm facing it. That makes it interesting to try to do videos sometimes. Second favorite wall here. Why is that? Wow. Okay, so I have an arsenal in here, and what I mean by that is just antenna system. I got antenna systems on that wall. Over here I've got my HOA MPass 2.0 system. I also have one of those in a go bag in case I need to head north to Orlando or out of the state of Florida when hurricane season hits. I've got a man-pack portable up here from Chameleon. I have all of my 17-foot whips up here, and again, I'm using these S-clips. These items are all hanging here on these S-clips because it's just very convenient. We have an MPass 2.0 micro here, and I keep the arsenal up here so that it's ready to grab and go backyard portable anytime I want to operate. This is one of my favorite features in the shack. I'll leave a description or a link to this in the description below. If you click on it, you're going to go, Bob spent how much on that? So, first of all, I wanted you to have a label wall. This is yours right here. I don't care if you're a manufacturer, you're a YouTuber, you're a ham radio operator, you're a distributor of ham gear. You have a label, send me your label. My address is good on QRZ. My idea here is to have this like a well-traveled suitcase. I want this thing just plastered with labels, and I just recently started this. Please send me your label. But what I really like about this wall is that it's magnetic, or I should say it's metal, and therefore I can put magnets on it. Remember what I did back here with these shelves? Well, I've done that completely over here on this wall. This wall also can be written on with a dry erase marker, so it's something you can put a list and erase it. I use this with magnets all the time. And what I have up here are just, well, let's see, I've got lights up here. These lights get used when I'm doing various videos and I need some light in the video. So I just pull the light off the wall because these come magnetized. There are magnets in these, and then I can just hang them on the wall, and when I need to do a video and I need some extra light, I grab them off the wall. This hook here is on with command strip. I use a combination of command strips and magnets, and I'm holding my radiator for a Chameleon receiving loop. Here I've got my microphone for my FX4CR, and what do you think all of this nonsense is? How many different styles and types of cables do you have for all of your radio gear? Well, my shack is 6 feet wide, and when I'm sitting right here in the middle facing my workstation, I can reach to the right and grab anything on the wall. I can reach to the left and grab anything on the wall. All of my cords that I could potentially need for the current setup and application, they're right here. And they're on hooks. They're on magnetic hooks. You've got to get magnetic hooks that are strong. These are magnetic hooks. I grab my cable. I leave my magnetic hook there. Grab my cable off. I do what I need to do. I wrap up my cord. I put it back over here where it belongs. I keep extra magnetic hooks over here. I keep these magnets here, and my green screen wraps around the corner. Well, gee, let's just go ahead and show it to you. My green screen wraps around the corner, and it envelops my chair. That goes on my side wall, and the left side of me is then encapsulated in my green screen. And when I'm done, my green screen just goes back behind the door. Oh, there you are, camera caught up with me. And my magnet goes back on the wall. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. That's just one of my cameras that I use. You can see I have all of this space available for your labels. I have more room to put magnetic attachments. And even after I fill this up with labels, I can put up all the magnetic attachments that I want. I have a notepad down here that is magnetic. I keep 2 pens in here. I keep a pointer in here that allows me to touch a tablet. I keep a post-it note here to take notes of call signs when I'm doing chasing POTA. What else is up here in the wall? Some bongo straps that are here with the magnetic hooks. You get the idea. This is incredibly versatile. Here I'm using my band plan chart. I have it up there with command strips. So again, when I'm sitting here operating my radio and I forget the band plan, you know, my limitations, because I don't always operate too far out of 20 and 40. Those are my favorite bands. I know where I am allocated there. I sometimes forget. There's a lot, 61 years worth of stuff that's up here. I've already deleted a bunch of my childhood memories for ham radio. I'm trying to hold on to what's left, and the things that I don't have to memorize I put here on the wall so I can look at it, refer to it, and make sure I stay within my band privileges. So here we are at the front of the shack. It's really difficult to get a wide enough angle in to see everything here. 6 feet wide, but we do kind of have both ends of the shack. Here's the right wall and the left wall behind me. So let's start at the bottom and work our way up. Let's start over here. So you're finally going to hear from me why on earth I took a grinder to this brand new, beautiful work chest, tool chest when I first built out the shack. I'll take a picture of what's underneath here. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and tell you now why I did it. I have one of those bodies with a longer top half than bottom half, and so it's very easy for me to have back pain, back trouble. So I don't normally sit at normal desk height. I like to stand for a lot of what I do, and that's why I have a riser here for my keyboard. I also have an under the desk keyboard here for when I am sitting and working. Most of my videos I do here in the shack are sitting, but many times I'll sit here at this particular workstation and I'll raise the desk and I'm standing as I work. So I needed this workstation to be a little bit higher than normal, but there's a track that's running underneath the full extent of the tabletop here, and so I needed to cut a groove into this so this would completely lay down flat. Now this is a rising workstation, but I don't manipulate it because it's at the perfect height. I could if I wanted to. It's actually on carpet sliders, and I could pull this away from the wall. Those carpet sliders have dug into the carpet and the carpet padding, so it's not fun to pull away from the wall, but I can if I need to do some work behind the workstation. And what do I do now that this workbench is encapsulated in this tool chest? Because this thing weighs hundreds of pounds with all the tools that are in here. It was a beast to get in here when it was empty. Well, what would you do if you had a workstation? Then, of course, I always have a magnetic flashlight here on the corner of this tool chest. Well, you mean you would put a ratchet here, right? I mean, who wants a regular old, just normal riser lever? Has to be a ratchet. And I have about a 1/2 inch clearance on this side of the wall and a 1/2 inch of clearance on the other side of the wall. So this thing is a snug fit. I had to build the workstation in place in the room and then lower the workstation down into the groove on this. That's why I cut the groove on that brand new tool chest, so I could fit the workstation in here, and it was a good fit for the height of my body. So as far as storage, I guess the next thing we need to talk about would be the insides of this particular tool chest. So in a future video, we'll go through all the tools that I actually keep in here, but just so you can see, everything is jam-packed in here, partly because I'm a YouTuber and partly because I'm a amateur radio operator. I need multimeters, I need pliers, I need lights. You need an HOA Ham sticker, all kinds of tools, crimpers, dummy loads, VNAs, Bioenno batteries, temperature gauges, tools. Did you expect anything different from me in my tool chest? Is this what you would have expected to see from HOA Ham? Pens and pencils, all kinds of adapters and connectors up here, and then some private items up here. We won't go too far back into that top shelf. No tour of the HOA Ham Shack is complete without a look at the HT Wall of Fame. I got a lot of questions about this and how I did it. So this is metal diamond plated pegboard. It's commercially available. It's sold on Amazon. It's sold at Lowe's. It's sold at various distributors. And it's two pieces on top of each other. I think it's probably 18 by 36 to 42 wide. And I just wanted a beautiful feature on the front of my shack. And this foots the bill. So each one of these is powered. I have power running to all of these. Now, I don't believe in leaving wall warts live all the time. I'm not a big fan of that. So these all go down to a power strip, the backside of the workstation, and that'll be an upcoming video, cable management. But the way I accomplish that is I plug the wall warts into that power strip behind the workstation. And before I even got to the backside of the workstation, I put an extension cable on those and I ran that up this post, which holds my light and holds one of my cameras here. That post goes all the way down to the desktop on the workstation. Behind here, I have cables that are Velcro strapped. And then I cut a hole in the underside of this bottom pegboard panel. So I have power cords that are running up to these 3 HTs, to these 4 HTs, to those 3 HTs, and then the power cords go into the back of them with power adapters or right angle adapters. So on the back side of each one of those shelves, I've cut another hole that allows that cable to come through. These shelves are nothing to write home to mom about. I'm not even sure I can find them on Amazon. Again, they're rather cheap. I don't mean they're flimsy and can't hold the HTs. It's very sturdy, but they're on top of these pegboard hooks that I just wasn't overly impressed with. I zip tied them together so they remain sturdy. If I can find them again, I'll leave links, but you might be able to find something better. They are safe. They are sturdy. My HTs are fine up here. Trust me. I wouldn't put them up here if I didn't believe they were going to be stable. So that's what happens here on the HT Wall of Fame. It's magnetic, so I can put hooks on it. I have things that are Velcroed onto here. I have things that are on with additional hooks so I can get to them quickly. I can get to my balance quickly. I can get to my BD7 maple ground spike quickly. I can get to any of my HTs quickly. I can get to my HOA Ham hat quickly. So something else that's a showpiece, but it's storage in the shack. I'm making use of space that otherwise just wouldn't get utilized. No surprise to most of you if I would describe myself as a buy once, cry once type of person. I look at all of my gear like an investment as if it were my radio that's going to last me double-digit years. I make an investment in gear because I want it to be durable. If I ever get out into the field, if I have an emergency situation, I don't want anything failing on me. That doesn't mean you can't repurpose gear. I repurpose gear all the time. I mix and match gear all the time, especially with antenna systems. And one of the things that I repurposed from the original shack was this computer case. So this was a cabinet that was in my original tiny shack, the corner of a spare bedroom. And then when we had water damage in there, the XYL said, let's take over that walk-in closet that we don't really utilize and turn it into your shack studio. I was like, yes, let's do that. And so you're seeing the results of that today. So this is just my computer system inside of here. And that's where we run all the videos through. It generates a lot of heat. So again, that's why that fan is back there in the corner. But you can repurpose gear. It is not the perfect fit for that computer. I cut out the back of it to have access to all of the ports, so all of my cables could come up behind the back of the workstation. So I repurposed something that was there. I didn't have to make another investment. It's another part of my storage solution. And here you might see my MFJ power supply, my LDG tuner, right? It just fits in this nice little space here. I believe in using every nook and cranny for storage possible because we need it. If you start out with a simple shack and you're happy with an HT and nothing else, that is fantastic. I am absolutely thrilled for you. Some of us, we just don't know when to stop. And so I guess I'll stop when I have no space left, but I make sure I utilize all of my space incredibly well. We'll talk about cable management in the future because that's really important when you start doing things like this and sending cables down the back of your workstation. Buckle up, because here we go. And there you have it, a very high-level overview of all the storage here in the shack. I no doubt missed out on some of the areas that I have additional storage and gizmos and gadgets to make things organized. There's no way I could possibly remember all of it. Again, my idea here is not to tell you what you should be doing in your shack. We all have different personalities, different budgets, and different space available to us. This is what I did. I wanted to share it with you to give you some ideas to springboard for you into something that makes all the sense in the world for what you're trying to do. I hope you found this useful, friend. I'll talk to you soon. 73.